Learning how to make zucchini pie is really easy. 2 years ago, I posted a southern tomato pie recipe and it's gone viral this summer. So I started thinking, you know what? I wonder if I can make a pie similar to tomato pie but with another vegetable. I started thinking and I said, you know what? What about zucchini? It's soft, it's a summer vegetable, why not? I did a Google search and I saw some crustless zucchini pies, but nothing like the southern tomato pie. So I said, you know what? I'm going to give this a try. I started out with 2 pounds of zucchinis. I sliced them a quarter of an inch thick, and then I put them on paper towels and sprinkled some salt on them. I'd say an eighth of a teaspoon per pound to help draw out the moisture. After they were on the paper towels for about 35-40 minutes, I put them on new paper towels. And what I did is that since the top part of the zucchini was looking watery, when I put them onto the new paper towel, I flipped them like that. I did not add any more salt. I just put them on new paper towels. And as you can see, these towels are literally wet. I did not add any water. That is just the water that has come out of the zucchini. That's going to help ensure that I am not making zucchini soup in a pie crust bowl. Of course, I have the pie crust, 9-inch. This is currently unbaked. It's homemade, but you can use store-bought if you want. For the cheese, I'm using 1.5 8-ounce blocks. I went back and forth. Originally, I was going to use mozzarella, but then I thought, you know what? I really liked the tanginess of the sour cream in the squash and zucchini casserole that I did recently. And you know what? Monterey Jack is kind of tangy, so I'm going to try that. Usually you see Monterey Jack with spicy spices, for lack of a better way of describing them, and I'm adding more Italian spices, so I may regret the Monterey Jack decision, but we'll see. I'm going to put 1 block in the pie and then another half a block as a topping, along with a 1/4 cup or 60 grams of sour cream. For the spices, I have a 1/4 teaspoon each of parsley, oregano, basil, garlic powder, onion powder, and black pepper. I'm going to do multiple layers of zucchini, and with each layer, I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon each. I'm going to do 3 layers of spices. What I'm going to do is I'm going to par bake this at 350 for 3 minutes. Then I'm going to take it out, add some cheese, and put it back in for 2 minutes. I'll explain why in a minute. I baked the crust for my zucchini pie for 3 minutes at 350, and now I'm just putting in some cheese. I'm putting in maybe half of an 8-ounce block, maybe just under half a block. And now I'm going to put it back into the oven for, I would say, 2 to 3 minutes. By doing this, I'm going to melt some cheese on the bottom of the crust, on the bottom of the pie, and it's going to act as a floor so that if the zucchini is watery, it's going to help trap the water in the pie and not make the bottom crust soggy. My pie crust with the cheese just came out of the oven maybe 3 or 4 minutes ago. I put it back in for another 2 minutes. As you can see, the cheese has started to melt. I added a little more there, and I think this is gonna act as a nice floor. I forgot to mention that when I transferred the sliced zucchini to the second paper towel, ideally I would let it sit for maybe 20 more minutes, but life happened and it's been sitting there for maybe 50 minutes. Oh well. Now it's time to assemble the zucchini pie. I am going to put down a layer of seasoning first. So like I said, here I have a 1/4 teaspoon each of all the seasonings. I'm just going to go ahead and use all of them here. if I'm not mistaken, with the tomato pie, I used all the seasoning at the beginning. So now I'm just going to put in my zucchini slices. I'm going to do what I did with the tomato pie. I'm going to put them close together and I'm going to slant them like this. I'm just going to go around and put in my zucchini, and then I'm going to come in the middle, probably with the smaller pieces. I know I'm going to run out of big pieces, and fill in. So here I'm going to do what I did there. Does it have to be perfect? No, it does not. There we go. And now for some cheese, and then I'm going to do spices, then I'm going to do zucchini, spices, and then the final topping. Now I'm going to do almost all of the cheese here. And actually, you know what? I'm going to put some of the spices here, and then the cheese, and then some of the spices. So I'll bring you back. Here I have my second round of spices. Like I said, I'm going to put some on the zucchini directly. And then I'm going to put some on the cheese. Do that. One more here. And now the cheese. And then the rest of the spices. I'm gonna do almost all, I'll do all the cheese because I want to fill in some of the holes here. If you see a hole near the edge, I would try to tuck in some cheese there to fill it up. I may have added a little too much cheese to the bottom, but that's okay. I think it'll all work out. Now, more of the spices. Now for the second layer of zucchini, I'm going to start over here. Like I said, I'm just going to arrange it like this. And then I'm going to do another round, I guess I'll say, of the spices. And then I'll do my cheese topping. That will be it. This is going pretty easily, so the gears are turning in my imagination. I wonder if I can make other types of vegetable pies. I'm thinking maybe eggplant, yellow squash, of course. I think I may be onto something if this works out. The final layer of zucchini is on top. I added half of the final bit of spices, and the other half, so an eighth of a teaspoon each, I added to my cheese and sour cream topping. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread this out on top as best as possible. Is it going to be perfect? No. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to put this into a 350 degree oven, uncovered, for I'm guessing 35 minutes, but I will let you know. I'm putting it in blobs, for lack of a better way of describing it, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back with my spoon. I'm going to spread it out like this. My zucchini pie is now ready for the oven. I just pulled my zucchini pie out of the oven. It was in at 350 for 50 minutes. 50. I decided to let it go a little bit longer so it could get a little more brown. I see some water bubbling around the edge. I think as it cools, that will solidify. When I took the pie out of the oven, it looked great. I couldn't wait to dig in because I was really curious as to how it turned out. And when I tried it, I was very pleasantly surprised. Although I basically taught myself how to make zucchini pie as I was making it, this pie was absolutely delicious. As I explained earlier, this zucchini pie was inspired by tomato pie, a recipe that, although it is very delicious, it's not very common and it sounds kind of odd. So, in all honesty, I wasn't totally sure that this was going to work. I was especially concerned about the type of cheese that I used. Although I thought that the tanginess of Monterey Jack would work well, especially since the tanginess of the sour cream and the sharpness of the cheddar worked in the squash and zucchini casserole, I just wasn't sure about the Monterey Jack in this zucchini pie. I actually thought that I might have to redo the recipe with mozzarella or something. However, like I said, I was very pleasantly surprised because the tanginess of the Monterey Jack complemented the subtle flavor of the zucchini very, very well. The spices, especially the basil, onion, and garlic, complementing and accentuating the flavors perfectly. Although the zucchini filling of this pie was delicious, I think that what really took it to the next level was the butteriness in the homemade pie crust and the bit of extra tang from the sour cream in the topping. My only complaint was that there was a bit of extra liquid, as you saw as I cut the pie. However, the pie didn't taste soggy at all, so honestly, I guess it was more cosmetic than anything. Since I successfully learned how to make a zucchini pie, I then made an eggplant pie using the same technique. However, I patted the eggplant slices between a paper towel, removing even more of the liquid. That pie was not liquidy at all. So now I know to pat dry the zucchini slices before adding them to the pie. I know the eggplant pie looked great, so don't worry, I'll show you how to make that soon. Although I knew that I was taking a culinary risk by trying to learn how to make a zucchini pie, it definitely worked out. This recipe is a perfect example of how one recipe can get your creativity going and can inspire you to create something totally new. Sometimes it doesn't work out. I've had kitchen failures before, but sometimes, like with this zucchini pie, it's amazing. So if you're looking for something new and different, yet incredibly delicious, you should definitely make this zucchini pie. Although I think it's perfect as is, if you want to switch up the cheese and use mozzarella or Colby Jack or even cheddar, I think you could. Personally, my vote would be for Colby Jack, but if you wanted to get creative and try something different, you could. Like I've already said multiple times, this zucchini pie was incredibly delicious, so you should give it a try. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.